Everybody, welcome to another episode of Your Voice, Our Morrisville. And instead of recapping goings on at Borough Council meetings, we're going to do something a little bit different today. We are going to use this podcast to introduce you to new Democratic committee candidates and to sort of talk about the role that these people will play in the upcoming election. Every election season, you see signs, yard signs, campaign literature is distributed, reminders to head to the polls. And what people don't see are local volunteers working in the background, really boots on the ground, working throughout the year to help make sure that neighbors, people who have recently moved into a ward, that they're informed and they're ready to participate, that they're not left in the dark about what's going on. And in Morrisville, that grassroots work happens in individual wards through the actions of ward committee members. And these are people, are residents who volunteer their time to help connect their neighborhoods with the democratic process. Today, we're going to be joined by some Morrisville residents who have generously agreed to serve as committee people for Morrisville Democrats. As you may know, Morrisville is divided into 4 wards, and each one of these wards has 2 committee people. So the candidates we're talking to today are from the 4th ward, and they're running for the first time. And we're going to take this opportunity to talk to them, introduce themselves, so if you see them out, you can recognize them, and their reasons for taking on this responsibility. What I do know also is that we have an election coming up, and the primary election is on May 19th. And that's coming up fast. That's only about 3 weeks away. So a strong primary turnout will really position us to help win in the fall. So these people are, working hard to make sure that we're ready when the midterms come around in November, and to help make sure that Morrisville residents are informed, have the information they need, know where to go, and can make their voices heard. So to get right to our candidates, I'm going to start with Sylvester Bell and Rebecca Guzman from the 4th ward. Now, if you are in the 4th ward, you vote at Granville School. If you are from the 4th ward, you vote at the Grandview School. So I'm going to start with you, Sylvester. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and why you have decided to take on this responsibility, given probably all you have going on in your life? And what made you decide to take this step?
Understood. Well, thank you for having me, Amy. It's good to be here with you again, Rebecca, for sure. My name is Sylvester Bell. I'm here running as a committee person here in the 4th ward. And just the Grandview voting station that station that you mentioned before. During the last general election at least, I happened to be going in, and individuals from the city council, Mr. Murray, David Murray, and also Anna Langer as well on the council. They happened to be outside, and I'm new to the area as well. This is my first home here in Morrisville. First time really setting down roots for sure in a positive manner. And they were very welcoming. It was good to speak with Democrats as well too. They had the whole Democratic banner thing out. I would like to be as informed about who I'm voting for as well. They told me much about the school board election as well, and how important that was. And walking into the school, I was looking at down the street from where I live, and I was like, I would love for this to be a good school for my kids to hopefully go to. So it just kind of led to getting more acquainted with the democratic process, and met a lot of interesting people as well. People were expressive about their opinions as well, and general love for democracy as well. I don't know, I was hooked. So here I am now, hopefully agreeing to participate further, agreeing to participate in a manner that's befitting what's taking place these days in the world. So why not start in my home? Is where we are at least.
Oh, that's awesome, because volunteers like you and Rebecca really are kind of the unsung heroes of the democratic process, just donating your time. And so let me go over to you, Rebecca. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved in this process?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Amy. I'm very glad to be back. I've, been on here with you before, and Sylvester. Nice to be on here with you.
Always. Always.
Um, But yeah, kind of echoing what Sylvester said on the last election, I actually was a poll worker. So that was me working inside. I helped people or like escorted people to the machines so that they could insert their ballot into them. And I just saw kind of this big problem inside of the poll place where people were not sure who candidates were, not sure who they wanted to vote for, not well informed. Our last election, we were big on retaining our Supreme Court justices. And I found a lot of people had some issues, even knowing who the candidates were, why they were voting for them, really kind of understanding what was on the ballot. And I just, thought to myself, like, as a poll worker, you can't answer these questions for them. So I just really wanted to be more a part of the conversation with everyone about, who our candidates are, why we do these things, why we go through elections. So that became like something that I was really thinking about post working for the polls and really hoping to get more involved in educating people or even just making them aware of what elections are and what they're about and why we're voting for who, we are.
Mhm.
I remember that Supreme Court question in the last election, and that was the wording was very confusing. A lot of
Yes, yeah.
people didn't even know what they were voting for or what
Hmm.
it meant. So that's a really great example that you put out. And as a poll worker, like you said, you can't answer questions. All
Yeah.
you it's just assist them with actually voting. So that sort of goes back to some of the responsibilities of a committee member. Sylvester, can you tell me just a little bit of what you plan on doing and if you have a strategy or a goal in mind, and what a committee member really does?
Well, in general, I was laughing at first because I had no idea what I was signing up for at the very beginning. I thought I was signing up to help hold signs and work at a poll probably or something more, but it kind of came about that there's more responsibilities. There's more of a commitment for sure. Um, in general, I still feel like it's encouraging participation in the process at whatever level possible, but encouraging understanding, whoever wants to understand more. Learning about the council meetings as well too. Had a visit to my first one recently, and really kind of seeing where the um, I think what makes me want to participate or helps me out with processing what's going on in the world today, at least what I can't control, is at least knowing where it is that things are being discussed. So that's a helpful thing. And I know that from knocking on doors out here during the canvassing process that people want to be engaged, but they don't know where to go. So being able to answer the questions on the smallest level of where is the meeting held at, or how much further can I participate and get involved, and also even in putting forth information about the candidates who are at stake in the future elections as well, the type of issues that are at stake. Um, because I've had an opportunity to meet certain candidates as well, I can tell of my personal experiences with them. I've asked them problems, they processed it out and gave me the answer they could at least, and we learned a lot more too. That's helpful to pass on, and especially with a city town like Morrisville as well. There's a lot of personal connections with the people who are running these races, and I get to actually experience it from the inside here and working on the ground roots level, and also distributing that information because that helps bring us together and get more positive results in the elections, I believe, in the future, at least for generals and whatever crazy is coming up next. So that's what I would like to participate in for sure.
Definitely, definitely. And so, Rebecca, I know that one of the things that committee members do is you try to help register new voters, people who are new to town, maybe people who've never registered to vote before. And with the canvassing that you've been doing and talking to people, can you tell me a little bit about what you're hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that again, kind of just to echo a lot of what Sylvester said, I feel like people definitely have the urge to want to be involved and to, kind of express themselves through democracy, which, when it comes to voting is definitely crucial to do. And I think people just don't know where to go or who to turn to or, kind of where to find like-minded people or, how to even take the first step in doing so. Like, for example, if somebody was new to the area, where their polling place is, just any like even something that we might think of as small like that, it's nice to be able to support the community in that, or even party changes, anything that we can do to support them and in that voting process for sure.
And I know the polling place thing can be confusing. I had a friend who lived on Crown Street, literally a block from the library, but her polling place was not the library, it was the high school.
Yeah.
So where you go to vote doesn't always make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, if you're new to town, it's definitely helpful to have someone to sort of that you can call on to guide you a little bit. Well, thank you very much for talking to me. We also have one other committee person in the third ward, George Dodig, who was not able to join us today. But definitely when you see people out and about, stop, say hello. And if you have any questions, as Sylvester said about the candidates, we've met a lot of them personally and sort of got a really good understanding of what they're all about and what their issues are. And so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing everybody on May 19th. So,
Yeah.
Sylvester, do you have any closing comments or anything that you would like to say as we
No,
wrap up?
no, the only thing I could ever, I guess this is the biggest platform I could possibly say, but I've always appreciated how much I was welcome into Morrisville as well. And there's agree or disagree, people have heart here and also a lot to say. So I definitely, I found a good home and, you know, a place of good. It's a lot of energy out here. So this is a hub of a lot of, you know, still protecting what's here and all that. I don't know, I'm getting carried away, but thank you. Thank you for having me as well, too.
Well, as a lifelong resident of Morrisville, I'm glad to hear that everyone was welcoming,
Mhm.
made you feel appreciated as you came to town. And all right, well, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you, especially on May 19th.
Let's go. Go team.
Today I'd like to introduce George Dodig. George is running for committee person in the third ward. If you live in the third ward, you vote at the high school, and you probably recognize me because I've been your committee person for a number of years, so you've probably seen me at the polls or canvassing. So thank you, George, so much. I'm excited to work with you as a committee person. And can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you like about Morrisville, how long you've lived here?
Um, yeah, so I've lived in Morrisville for about I want to say 4 years, almost 5 years now. Um, I came down from the Lehigh Valley area to live with my girlfriend and kind of just sort of enjoy the community that's sort of developing here. It's a really great old community. It's got a lot of character. It's a really great canal town. I do like a lot of the neighborhoods and things like that. And it's been very nice to just be here and start meeting the people, honestly. So, and that's kind of sort of why I've kind of come down here. Um,
That's great. And the town really does have a unique character, and the people are really what make it so special.
mhm.
Have you been active so far in the Democratic Party?
Yeah, so I as since my first election, I've always kind of voted Democrat. I identify with a lot of the Democratic Party. I feel like it's a party of the people. Been with the Democratic Party for a long time.
Uh,
Since I was able to vote.
Well, that's great, and so happy to have you with us. What do you understand the duties of the community person, or what roles you'll be assuming?
So, I mean, as a committee person, I know that people that are watching now will probably end up seeing me a little bit later because I'll be at the polling stations. I'll be staying after to, with the count. And then up until the election, I'll be doing a lot of canvassing as well. So people can meet me on a more face-to-face level. So,
I know you're really a busy person with a busy work schedule. So why did you decide to take on this commitment? Because it really is a big commitment, and we really appreciate anybody who assumes this responsibility, really.
well, I feel, you know, as I've gotten a little bit older, that I want to give back to the community. I've always been a busy working person, but I feel like now I have a little bit more time to be able to actually like give back to the community, kind of start to um, you know, uh, try to help on a more local level. And I figured this is the start to doing something like that, was to at least get your foot in the door and at least be a committee person, just try to start somewhere. So
Okay. Well, that's great. And thank you so much for stepping up. Local elections are really the backbone of the party. It's a cliche, I guess, that all elections are local, but it's really, really true. People like you are really the backbone of the party and help Democrats get elected up and down the ballot. So thank you, George, for talking to us today and introducing yourselves. You'll see George at the polls. You'll see him probably around canvassing a little bit before the primary elections. And please check out our MorrisvilleDemocrats.org page to find out more information about what committee people actually do, and see an interview of all the candidates who are running in all of our wards. Thank you so much.
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Talking to Maria Casale separately because we had difficulty coordinating everyone's schedules. Maria is running for committee person in the first ward. If you're in the first ward, you vote at the Senior Citizen Center, and you already know Catherine Price Engelhardt, who has been your committee person for a number of years, and she is running again. But we wanted to take this opportunity to present Maria to you. So thank you, Maria, so much for agreeing to take on this new responsibility for the Morrisville Democratic Party. So can you just tell the voters a little bit about yourself and why you've chosen Morrisville as your home?
Hi, Peggy. Thank you for having me. Let's see. I think I've lived in Morrisville since the early 90s. And originally I just moved here because it was close to work. But the longer I've been here, the more I started to really love the community, the natural beauty of the setting. I originally lived near the canal and the bike path, and the river. And then I got more involved with the community and all the really friendly people here.
That's exactly how I feel. And we've been here for about 43 years, I think.
Mhm.
How have you been active in the Democratic Party in Morrisville and Morrisville itself?
So I first got involved with the Democratic Party in Morrisville a few years ago. I am a lifelong Democrat, and so my son and I volunteered to canvass and work for Kamala Harris's campaign. And that was really how I originally met many of the Democrats in Morrisville, that and some of the protests that went on, first around George Floyd's murder and other things since then.
Um, what do you understand the role of committee person to be? Because a lot of
Um,
people don't even know what a committee person does.
I'm not sure that I understood all of it when I said I would do it. But I've been reading up, and committee people work at the polls on election day, which is fine because I've been doing that anyway. And also they're very involved with voter registration, which is the part I'm excited about, getting out and talking to neighbors, and maybe new voters and getting people involved in voting. And also they have some responsibilities regarding county Democratic committee meetings.
And I know you're a busy woman. You work full time, you're a mom, you're involved in many other activities in the community. So why have you decided to take on this responsibility, especially in this particular election year?
Well, all elections are important, and I feel like we're at a really important time in our civic life generally, and you make time for what's important.
So true. And we need to make people understand too that local elections matter so much, and every election matters, not just presidential elections. So we're very grateful to you for stepping up to do this job. That voter turnout, successful elections, electing Democrats up and down the ballot all starts with committee people at the local level. It's a huge responsibility for those people who take it seriously. And we'd like you to check out MorrisvilleDemocrats.org to find out more information about what committee people do and see an overview of the candidates that are running in our wards. Thanks a lot, Maria, for being with us today.
Thank you.